What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri zone, and welcome back to the last day of the year. It's the end of the year, and it's not been a fantastic year. I think that's very obvious. It's not been fantastic the last couple of seasons for us, considering the standards of this club. And it's not ending in a very good way, obviously, for the Fiorentina result and the way that game, developed, but also because of the scrutiny Motta is getting under, and it's fair in terms of it's Juve. You need to win, if not, or you need to improve. You need to show that you are the best or want to be the best. And if that's not the case, then you will get criticized, and rightfully so. However, we're in a situation that people are already calling for his job. And there are made some good points and some very ridiculous points. So we'll talk about that. Is his job in danger? Maybe not right now, but by the end of the season already. That's what we're going to talk about, and a little update on the transfers as well. But before we do that, as always, smash the like button for the last video of the season of the year. So let's get to 100 likes for the last one, and yeah, let's talk about Motta's job being in danger or just not the case. Okay, so after that, bad result against Fiorentina, not a bad performance overall, just bad moments in that game. I was moments too, actually, in that game. It's all over the place. I've seen media suggesting that his job could already be in danger by the end of the season, but also a big part of the fan base calling for his job already now. And I think that's crazy, even though I agree with certain things that people say about him being potentially stubborn, with certain positions of players or the approach of the game, maybe. And I would agree with that because I've talked about it on the channel many times. But I don't think we're in a situation right now to say you need to sack him because, like, we're not winning games, obviously, but you're also not losing games. And with that, I mean, we're not in a situation where we are sitting, I don't know, 10th and we lost 6 games or something insanely like that. That's not the case. The fact that we're not winning games, excuse me, I don't think we're far off from turning draws into wins, because it's not like the Venezia one, obviously, and the Bologna one, but in many of these games, it's not that you get completely outplayed where it's like we're miles off it and we're just getting away from it. We're not playing fantastically, barred yesterday. I thought that was or against Fiorentina, that was a good game, but there was an individual moment, and that has been the case. Venezia, for example, 2 individual moments that cost you that game. You can see on you can see 2 stupid avoidable goals, and you do that yesterday again. Basically, that's a mental thing. That's something you can improve, because that has nothing to do with setup, tactics, and so on. That has something to do with the mental aspect of the players, one, and also experience, that which you can improve as well. But it's not the case that I'm watching Mottas Juve and I'm like, I have no idea what we're trying to do, and we're just sitting back, sitting off team, hoping for the best, like we did previous season. Excuse me, we're just sitting back and hoping for the best, and hopefully we can nick a goal and we can take out a result. That's not the case. So even though I agree that so many draws is not acceptable and we need to improve overall as a team, sacking him, I think, is going way overboard. Keep in mind that the club went into a direction, giving him contract until 27, and basically saying we're gonna build from ground up. We're gonna try to build something sustainable. Trying to sack your coach mid-season, or whatever fans are suggesting, or even 75% through the season, is not building something sustainable. That's coming out and saying we flop. The players we brought in, it's not like that will be just imploding already, and that's just not the case, because it could get worse. We don't know, but this far from what we have been seeing, it's not that bad to an extent, in my opinion, to suggest, yeah, call it a day, and basically admit that the new direction you were trying to go in completely flop. Move on, it's done. I think that's way pure mature, and I think that's something we should actually 100% try to avoid. Otherwise, you will get into a situation that will get far worse than this, in my opinion. So even though I can see certain points that people make in terms of like it's not good enough and this and that, I agree, and we talked about it, but sacking him, I think that's a bit crazy in my opinion. Now let's move on to the final updates of the transfer window. There are actually two that I want to talk about. One is the Antonio Silva one, which is not surprising. We made a bid. We made a bid of 5 million on a loan, and then an option to buy set at 30. That is obviously rejected by Benfica because it's an option. It's not an obligation, and even that, I think the fee is something Benfica will not accept, especially not the low loan fee. So that's gonna drag on, I think, if we actually want him. I've seen news that Conceição will sign for Milan now, his father, to be the coach, and that they potentially are in the race. I don't know what's gonna happen with that, but we knew dealing with Benfica was never gonna be easy. And whatever bid we were going to make, opening bid, unless it was going to be something insane, which we knew was not going to be the case, it was always going to be rejected. So that's going to be, if we were going to do that deal, and or if we are trying to do that deal, it's going to drag on. That's not a signing you're going to make very early on in January, which potentially is something I completely dislike. I think considering how the squad is built and how we look at the back at times, whatever transfer you want to make at the back, you need to do that ASAP. And taking an entire January, I think is just poorly planning from Giuntoli, because you had enough time to prepare, because Cabal and Bremer are down for months already, so you knew what you had to do, and he better delivers ASAP. Otherwise, he's doing a poor job, and he's just setting up Motta and the squad to just drop even more points in a very insanely packed January. So Giuntoli better come up with the goods. And then another update that's actually not really an update. It's not out there in the news. I know the journalists are picking up, and retweeting their own things that we're in for Zirkzee. He got subbed off 30 minutes into the Man U game against Newcastle. They were losing 2-0. Definitely not his fault, because that backline looks like they play on Sunday mornings. That midfield was just dreadful. Every player on that pitch was horrible, and he subbed them off, which is definitely probably the end of Zirkzee at Man U. A player that I like, obviously not at 40 million that was quoted at the summer, because I've seen him in the Belgium league. He has some issues. He has certain limitations in terms of setup wise. He's not a prolific goal scorer. However, he works with Motta. He gives you different options, and right now the way things are unfolding with Man U, alone potentially could be something you can actually convince Man U to do, because it looks like it's toxic. It looks like it's completely done, at there. So maybe you can put in that sneaky offer for January, because Vlahovic is not performing. He's always playing because there's nobody else, and we have no clue where Milik is. Giuntoli can put out the news that he's back in training in in 2 weeks or so. It's 2 weeks over. He's not back in training. You cannot count on Milik. So that potentially could be something that picks up steam very, very quickly at the start of January. So let's see what that will be. But that's it. That's the last video of the year on this channel. So I want to thank everybody who keeps supporting the channel, watching the channel always. Wishing you a happy new year already. Hopefully a good year for us, for the club. Hopefully we start winning a couple of games very, very soon, because I think we all need that. Just for the sake of it, watching games and getting away with a win. But other than that, I will talk to you tomorrow. I will do a video. I will record a video and see what we'll talk about that live back Thursday. Back with a live show. And other than that, enjoy the day and enjoy the start of the new year. Ciao.